Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. It's going to be a more intimate episode since it'll just be you and I talking this time. But of course we'll be talking magic. I guess I'll be talking, you'll be listening. I hope you're listening. We're going to talk about where Magic Online, or at least Magic Arena, and paper magic intersect. That would be the Planeswalker decks. I say they intersect because if you've never bought one before, each deck comes with a Planeswalker code so that you can, in addition to owning it on paper, own it in Arena. Inside each box, you'll find your foil Planeswalker and a box of cards. Not only is there a box of cards, there's a couple of booster packs and a small sheet detailing the deck that you've just purchased, how you should play, and some little things regarding the rules and such as what are Planeswalkers and how do they work, as well as the specific Planeswalker that you picked and how to play it. So when I get one of these decks, aside from checking out the code, which is on the back of this card, and plug it into Arena, I like to open up the decks and see how I can upgrade it, because of course once you purchase this deck, well, so have a lot of other people. So you've got two packs that you can update your deck with. If you find something that you think of as a weakness in the deck, then it would be a good idea to upgrade that. Now I have another booster pack to open, but I'll save that for the end. If you've been following this set at all, which is centered around fairy tales and such, the Throne of Eldraine, well, this is a premium pack. You're not going to find this in here with the other ones, but we'll save that for later. What I'm going to do right now is open this deck up and then open up the booster packs and see what I think about this deck and what improvements I would make. I'd really like this to be a collaborative effort, so if you have any ideas specifically on the cards I pull, which ones you would put in there and which ones you would swap out, be sure to include that in the comment section down below. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell so you'll know when new episodes are coming up. The three things you'll find on this channel are Tibalt's Apprentice, where we talk about magic, both Arena and EDH. That's Elder Dragon Highlander, or Commander. And also every now and then I'll do a Cruel Realities episode, which is where I talk about what it's like to actually sell magic cards online. A lot of people give you, I don't want to say misleading information, but it could be misunderstood. They don't factor in what it takes to actually pack up a card, send out a card, follow up on that, and I'll save that stuff for the Cruel Realities. Don't worry, I don't do a lot of those. But at any rate, smash that like button down there and click that notification bell. I'm going to crack these packs open and let's see what we got. So now the question becomes, where do we go first? Do we open up our booster packs and see what we got? Do we crack open the deck and see what cards are in there? Or do we start with our Planeswalker? I feel like the best place to start is probably with our Planeswalker. Let's see what we're trying to accomplish with this deck. His +1 is to put, actually, you know what? I'm going to assume that you haven't played with a lot of Planeswalkers, and we're going to actually look at a Planeswalker card. Planeswalkers are like you, people that have awakened to their magical potential And so you're joined by a friend, basically. And the friend that you have playing this with you is Oku the Trickster. Probably not pronouncing that right, but at any rate. Looking around the card, starting up here, this is what you need to cast it. And blue, a green, and 4 colorless. Down here you'll see his loyalty counters. He starts with 4 loyalty counters. The cards on here, or rather the images here, the counters, loyalty counters can be added or subtracted, or in some cases they have 0 abilities. To activate these abilities, you will add more loyalty, such as +1 to put 2 1/1 counters on up to 1 target creature you control. The reason it says up to 1, because really how could there be less than 1? Well, if you don't have a target on the board, but you still want to be able to activate that ability to put a counter on there, it needs to say up to 1, because every time you read a card, it means very literally what it says on the card. That's why there is a rat on so many cards these days. Well, the older cards actually. They've done a very good job of updating and clarifying those rules and such now. But up to 1. So even if there's nobody on the board that's a legal target, you can still activate that ability and give him 1 more loyalty counter, bring it up to 5 in this case if you were to do it once. So anyhow, that 1 counter is to put 2 1/1 counters on up to 1 target creature you control. You can't put it on theirs. The 0 ability, so this will have no effect on that loyalty counter. Until the end of turn, he becomes a copy of target creature you control. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. Interesting. I'm not sure how that would be used yet. But again, I'm new to this set also. His -7, so after you've activated or somehow increased that loyalty to 7 or beyond, you may -7, and until end of turn, creatures you control gain a base power and toughness of 10/10 and gain trample. So in that case, any counters and so on that are on there are going to stay there, but their numbers in the lower right-hand corner will read as though they were 10/10. Any bonuses on top of that? Well, that's just gravy. At any rate, that's what our guy does. Now, let's see what cards we have in there to support that. Now, let's get our... Oops, hope nobody saw that code. So we have Elf Archer, Flash, Reach. Flash, so it can be played at instant speed despite the fact it's a creature. Reach means it can block flying things. Whenever another non-human creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay X. When you do, put X 1/1 counters on Wildborn Preserver. Nice. I like that. Actually, I'm not going to bore you by reading all of these cards. This deck list will be readily available since it's a pre-constructed deck that you can purchase. One of the new story cards here. You can cast the sorcery first, put this into exile, and then cast it as a creature later. Or you can cast it as a creature right now. You will not get the chance to use that adventure card or that adventure thing then. So we've got a few of those. Some of them are instants, and they're on creatures. Okay. Like I said, all of this information is available online. So what I should do, let's get rid of those lands, is I should study these cards and then see which card to talk about tapping and blocking and such. And adventure. So if you need someplace to put your card after you cast it for its adventure cost, you can put it on there to remind you that you can play that at a later time. We'll put these off to the side. We'll study these, but let's see what our potential for customization is. The reason they do this is because if two people were to buy these decks, you don't want to sit down and play against a friend that has the exact same deck you do. You want to be able to customize it a little bit so that there's some surprises. Did we get anything good? These first few cards are going to be common cards, and not to say they can't be useful, but we almost always want to go right there to the back and see what our uncommons are. Overwhelmed Apprentice. I've seen this more than once on Arena for sure. Rally for the Throne, Rampart Smasher, and I see black in it. That's always a good sign for me. Wishclaw Talisman. Wishclaw Talisman enters the battlefield with 3 wishes on it. Remove a wish counter from Wishclaw Talisman. Search your library for a card. Put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. Opponent gains control of Wishclaw Talisman. Activate this ability only once per turn. Interesting. And what did I get here? We seem to have a foil. Feasting Troll King. Wow, that's kind of expensive. 6, 4 of it's got to be green, but it has Vigilance, Trample. When Feasting Troll King enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, create 3 food tokens. Nice. Sacrifice 3 food tokens. Return Feasting Troll King from your graveyard to your battlefield. Activate this ability only during your turn. Interesting. And then we have a couple of other cards. Let's see. We're going to set this aside. Now, looking back at our commander, what are we, Simic? We're only primarily interested in the green cards or the blue cards. So I'm going to set aside. This isn't Commander, so I could absolutely have this card in here. With Commander, you're limited to the colors that are on the card. This doesn't have any red on there, so if it was a Commander game, I would not be able to use that. So yes, we're only looking for green or blue. Oh, and of course there's always colorless. That can go in just about any deck. Not saying we'll use that, but I just want to know what's possible. And we'll set that aside. That was our first booster pack. There'll be a pop quiz at the end. I want to know what of those cards did you see that you might think would be useful as an upgrade out of the pack to play against somebody else. We'll maybe check in next week and see what upgrades I chose to make using just this pool of cards. So again, we're going to go straight for, you can tell I'm used to playing my Wart the Raid Mother because I want to pull out all the red and green cards. It's not what we're looking for. We're looking for blue and green. And, of course, colorless. An artifact, but it requires a colored mana. Oh, let's look at this. This is one of our uncommons. Shepherd of the Flock has that adventure side to it. Usher to safety, return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. Nice. And then for 2, you can get a 3/1 creature. I'm not even going to try Grumgally the Generous. Well, I guess I tried. Legendary creature, Goblin Shaman. Oh, and it's, I keep talking about Wart the Raid Mother. It's in my colors, though. Each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with +1/+1 on it. I definitely am upgrading one of my decks this evening. Oh yes, and let's see here. Epic Downfall. 2 mana to exile a creature. Exile. That's going to not put it in the graveyard, it will exile it. It will put it into a space all its own. And a legendary Merfolk Wizard. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. When Emery Lurker of the Loch enters the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into the graveyard. Choose target artifact in your graveyard. You may cast that card this turn. Interesting. See, they've noted on here too, you still pay its cost, timing rules still apply. So you can't do it as an instant unless you have something that will let you cast it as an instant. And there's this. So looking at these, this is the greens and blues and artifacts that we have. We'll go through them one more time. So your homework assignment, should you choose, is to tell me which of these cards you would swap out and put into that deck that we just opened. Or are there any of them that you wouldn't put in there? Or would you play the deck just as it is? It's usually a good idea to play the deck a few times, get a feel for it. And again, one of the advantages, I almost threw that away, but it doesn't have to be that, it can be all green. One of the advantages of having Arena is it's a fine tool to play test that deck and then figure out which one of these you would set down at your local game store to play. You now have the advantage. Now you may not be able to have these cards already, but if you have enough wild cards, if you have enough, you can trade those in and get the appropriate cards to go in there. At any rate, enough about that. We'll see what we come back with next week, but I did promise I was going to open this premium pack. All right. A foil food token and a foil Lonesome Unicorn, foil Forever Young, foil Smitten Swordmaster, Swordmaster, Charmed Sleep, Ginger Brute, nice, 1/1 with haste, like it. Spend 1 Ginger Brute, can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. You can sacrifice it and gain 3 life. Interesting. We have an Ogre Knight, Ogre Errant, and what is this? Oh, nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Red Cap Melee, Righteousness, nice. Oh, I like these story cards. Wow. So I'm not there yet. What I would like to do at some point is to do some giveaways and start giving away some things to folks that are subscribers, or actually to those that just contribute to the group. And I'm not saying this is necessarily what I'll be giving away, but I do want to do that in the future. So even if this wasn't your favorite video, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Leave your feedback on which of those cards you would use to upgrade that deck. We'll take a brief look at it next week and see what changes I made to it using, again, just that small pool of cards. But as I was saying, like, comment, subscribe, give us some feedback, and let's see if we can't start building this community. I want to make it so that a lot more people are able to enjoy the content, and I can continue to improve the content. In the meantime, thanks for listening.